Right, so for this you need a lot of different pieces. Okay, so I'm going to take you through. Now, I've made these, I've changed the measurements slightly and I've done them in imperial, and I've tweaked things slightly anyway. So you're going to need one piece that is 7 inches by 7.5. Then you're going to need 3 pieces that are 5.25 by 7.5. You're going to need 2 pieces that are 3.5 by 7.5, and you're going to need 2 pieces that are 1 3/4 by 7.5. Okay, now on all of those pieces you want to score them all exactly the same, so you're scoring them all on the 7.5 inch side. So you're going to put them in. That's my 7.5 inch side, and that's my 7 inch side. So you're going to score all of them at 1 3/4, at 3.5, at 5.25, and at 7. Okay, so you're going to score all of them like that. So always along the 7.5 inch length. Then what you want to do with all of them is you're going to end up with a little 1/2 inch tab on the side. So what you want to do is just notch those out on both sides. So you're going to notch that one there, and you're going to notch that one there, like that. Okay, so you end up with a little, just a little corner cut off, just so when you do your tab, it just makes it look neater. So now we're going to go ahead and stick all of our cubes together. So you're going to fold along all of your lines. Now I'm using very thin card. This card is probably about a 160 GSM, and I've decided to go quite thin because there's going to be quite a lot of bulk. Once you've got your layers on, there's going to be a lot of bulk. So I'm just going to fold along the lines like that. Okay, so that's that one done. So I'm going to go ahead and fold all the others, and I'll come back in a minute. Right, so now I've folded them all, I'm going to go ahead and stick them all into, basically together as cubes. So I'm going to start with the big one. I'm going to use red tape because it's a 3D project. And whenever I do a 3D project, I always use red tape for sturdiness. So we're going to go ahead and put tape along the inside, on the outside rather. Take the backing off, and then what we're going to do is just going to fold it in half and stick that down. So there's your first box. Okay, there's your first cube. So I'm going to put that to one side. Now, Jo Blackman, in her video, she did it so that your tabs were on the outside. Now I would never normally do that, however I do think she's got a point, and I do think that's the best way of doing it. So that's what I'm going to do. So now for the rest of my cubes, I'm going to put the tape on the inside of the tab, so that the tab actually sticks on the outside of the box. So I'm going to go ahead and do all that with all these here and put them all together. Right, so I've done all that, I've done them all. Now, as you probably noticed on that last one, I accidentally did the tab inside. It's not the end of the world if you do. I'm just so used to doing it that way that I forgot all about doing it on the outside. But anyway, right, so what we're going to do now is I'm just going to get these in the right places so I can get my head around what I'm doing. Right, so we're going to start with the main one. And I'm going to stick the actual bare bones of the thing together first, and then I'm going to put the panels on. You'll see the reason why in a minute. It's not going to be as easy as if you do it as you go along. However, then at least you get an idea of where you're putting things. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and stick this one is going to go on here like that. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that on there. Okay, so as you can see there, I've stuck down the front one. I was just making sure on the back, I've got a little bit of a gap between the fold. I was just making sure there was no stickiness from the glue, and there isn't, so that's good. So I'm now going to stick this one on here, and I'm just making sure that the tab is the side with the tab on is the side that I'm going to stick down here. Okay, I'm actually going to use wet glue, I think, instead of red tape. I just think it's going to give me a bit more wiggle room, a bit more time. Okay, so that's the first three in place. So now I'm going to stick the middle one on, which is going to go there. I'm definitely going to use wet glue for this one. So I'm going to fold the whole thing flat. I know that these two sides need to be stuck down. So I'm going to fold the whole thing flat, and then I'm going to stick that on there, and making sure each time that we don't go below this bottom line. Okay, so that's the first four put on. So now we go with the next smallest, which are these. And these are going to go on here and on here. So again, I'm going to fold it flat, make sure I've got the tab, and then I'm going to make sure that the bottom of this does not go below the bottom of this here. Right, so that's that done. So now we've just got to put the last two on. So these are going to go on these two edges here. Okay, so as you look at it, they're going to go on these two edges here. So again, I'm going to fold it nice and flat. This is going to go on there, and this one's going to go on there, like that. I'm going to go ahead and stick these down. There's the finished sculpture. Now obviously it's not going to go in the envelope like that. Just going to squidge it a little bit, get it to sit a bit better. Right, so there we go. So in Jo Blackman's video, she actually had these the other way, so they went over like that, and that was where the gap was. But I decided to do them all the same way. Kind of looks a bit like a desk tidy, if I'm honest, at this stage. But anyway, right, so now what we're going to do is we're now going to decorate it. So you're going to need lots of mats and lots of layers. Right, so what you're going to need is, now I've done 3 different papers. I've got a red, a blue and a brown. Okay, so you're going to need some long strips. So they've got the white mat, and the white mat is 1.5 by 6 3/4, and the pattern mats measure 1.25 by 6.5. Okay, so you are going to need 6 matte panels and 4 pattern panels. So the pattern panels are going to be going 2 in there and 2 in there. like that. Don't know if you can see. Oh, let me bring it forwards. Oh. So I'm going to have 2 in there at the back and then 2 at the front. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stick those into place now. Okay, so hopefully you can see there, I've put the 2 dark ones on the inside and the 2 red ones on the front, and they go all the way down. So that's why I've stuck all my cubes on, not cubes, whatever these are called, square things on first, because then it's going to cut down on the amount of pattern paper I'm using. Okay. Right, so now we're going to do the next lot of pieces, which are what I've sort of called medium-large pieces. Now these, you're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're going to need 8 mats, and your mat layers are 1.5 by 5, and your pattern panels are 1 1/4 by 4 3/4. So I'm going to go ahead and stick these in now, and you'll see where I'm sticking them, okay? Okay, so hopefully as you can see, I've put them one there, one inside there, one inside there, and then 4 at the front there. Okay, so now we're moving on to the slightly shorter ones. Right, so these mats and layers, the mats are 1.5 by 3.5, and the patterns are 1 1/4 by 3, and you're going to need 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. Okay, so these are going to be going the same as you've done here, but on these. So I'll be sticking them inside here, both sides, and then here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Right, so there you go. That's how we are so far. So next we want to stick the little pieces on. So these little squares, the mats are 1.5 by 1.5, and the patterns are 1 1/4 by 1 1/4. And you need 6 of these as well. Okay, and again, just as you did before, you're sticking them on the inside here, these 2 fronts, and that inside there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stick those down now. Right, so there we have it. That's the top profile, and there's the side profile. So now if you were wanting to be super neat, you could stick your topper on before you stick your panels on, so then you would hide your tabs and your little mechanism. However, you might find that's just a little bit too much for your brain to cope with. It was going to be too much for my brain to cope with, so I've got this topper here. Right, so this is the top I'm going to use. It's going to go halfway up there, and obviously I want it to stand out slightly, so you just need a strip of paper. Now this can be whatever width you want, but obviously it can't be taller than your whatever it is you want to stick out, your topper. So this is my topper, so that's going to be fine. And then the width, I've done it as 6 inches, and I've scored an inch, 2 inches, and then an inch. So I've scored at 1 inch, 2 inches, 4 inches, and 5 inches. Okay, and then all you want to do is you just want to fold. The first one's going to be a valley fold, then a mountain fold, then another mountain fold, and last of all a valley fold. So you end up with that weird looking piece like that. Okay, so now what you want to do is you're going to stick this onto here, making sure that your folds down the middle there line up with the middle fold here, and the same with that one. So again, I'm going to super glue these just because I don't want to get it wrong. And at least with Yoo-hoo, I've got a bit of time and room for manoeuvre. Okay, so as you can see, it stands proud. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and stick our topper on. Okay, so that's how we are, where we're up to so far. I also wanted to put a little greeting at this top section here. So for that top section, again, I've made another one of these, and I've just made it thinner because my greeting is quite thin. So once again, I'm going to do the same thing as I just done with that. I'm going to stick it on and stick my greeting on top. Right, so there we go. Just stand it all up. And there you have the finished card. Okay, now in an envelope, what you want to do is obviously squash it all flat, and then this bit here just folds over, and that bit there folds over like that. Now that's not too, it is a bit wodgy, but it's not too bad. I think because I've used quite thin card, you could actually fold those back on themselves if you wanted to, make it a little bit less like that, and then obviously just open it up. Give it a bit of a squidge the other way, and there you have your card. So it is a bit of a, it does take a while to make, but it is well worth it. It's one of them showstopper cards that you would make for somebody who you know is going to appreciate it. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. Go and check out Jo Blackman's YouTube channel because she's got some fantastic ideas over there and some fantastic makes. So go and check her stuff out as well. Hope you enjoy the video. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.